Do you know what you're eating? It starts with reading. Dr. Stan Anderson talks with Pam Cook about reading nutrition labels of any and all foods. Just search 1480 WHBC YouTube and be sure to subscribe.
Live from the WHBC Broadcast Center. Find out more about area businesses, agencies, and events.
It's what's going on right now.
This is Spotlight.
And welcome to the Wednesday edition of Spotlight here on 1480 WHBC. Good morning, everyone. Pam Cook with you this morning. And don't forget, Spotlight is always live, of course, on the radio, but we are also live on our YouTube channel, and we'll have this on our Facebook later on this morning as well. So hope you'll check it out there if you don't have a chance to listen today to the full show. But we have a lot to talk about this morning, and some really wonderful events coming up, but one particular coming up later on this month. And we're going to bring in right now with the Ohio and Erie Canalway Coalition, the president and CEO, Dan Rice, and also the event coordinator, Lauren Anderson. Good morning, guys. How are you?
Good.
Good morning. It's good to see you.
Good to see you too. So glad we could have you on to talk about the event, which is coming up on June 22nd, which is Saturday. But before we get to that, Dan, I want you to tell us a little bit about the Ohio and Erie Canalway Coalition, your mission, how it came about, that kind of thing.
Well, thank you so much, Pam. And it's actually very appropriate that we're talking about the Congressman Regula Memorial Ride, because if it wasn't for Congressman Ralph and Mary Regula, they're very central to our mission and organization. We were founded in 1989 with the sole purpose of working with community organizations, residents, businesses, and corporations to continue the great work that Mr. Regula and Mrs. Regula started in the 1960s, and that is to preserve, interpret, and develop the natural, historical, and recreational resources along the Ohio and Erie Canal. And as many folks are very well aware, Mr. Regula was a huge advocate and supporter of the Ohio and Erie Canal and the Towpath Trail. He started the work in the 1960s, and if it wasn't for his incredible vision, we would not have this wonderful resource today. And so we as a nonprofit organization, we carry on that legacy. We do a lot of educational programs, canal cleanups, fishing derbies. We also provide technical assistance to communities helping to maintain and activate and build connector trails to the Ohio and Erie Canal Towpath Trail, as well as helping communities preserve historic buildings and conserve natural areas. And so we are a regional nonprofit organization. We're headquartered in Akron, but we focus our energies in Summit, Stark, and Tuscarawas counties, as well as with our partners up in Cleveland and Cuyahoga County.
And so how long is the Towpath Trail? What are we talking about here?
Well, the Ohio and Erie Canal Towpath Trail, the northern gateway is in Cleveland, up in the flats at the Canal Basin Park, and it goes 90 miles today through Cuyahoga, Summit, Stark, and Tuscarawas counties. And eventually the goal would be to extend all the way down to the city of New Philadelphia and Tuscarawas County. So we're really, really close. 90 of the 101 miles are completed. And that really is due to the incredible vision of Congressman Ralph Regula. He was very instrumental in the creation of Canalway National Park. That is a national park between Cleveland and Akron. And then he was also really the author of the Ohio and Erie Canalway National Heritage Area legislation that passed in 1996. And so really due to his vision and commitment to this region, we have this amazing resource that was built, now almost 200 years ago, all by hand, and now is being utilized by 2.5 million hikers and bicyclists. It's a completely free resource. And we're just really proud to be a small part of that. And to work with all of our partners, our park districts like Stark Parks, Summit Metro Parks, Cleveland Metro Parks, Canalway National Park, and Tuscarawas County Parks. They really maintain the trail, but we help support them in their efforts.
Yeah, it's amazing to see how it has grown over the years. Watch it. And I should mention that Richard Regula will be with us coming up here at 9:30, and he can talk more about, of course, his parents' love for this. And as you say, we give credit to them because especially his dad was just, this was his baby, and it was a very important thing for him as well. So we'll talk to Richard here coming up a little bit later on. But I want, Lauren, talk a little bit about June 22nd, because that's a big important day this month.
It is. So we're really excited. This ride is in Canal Fulton, and it's really unique because we have 3 routes. So it's really family friendly. There's our 8-mile route, 16-mile route, or the 32-mile route. So we have all different levels to choose from, and we have those staggered at different times. So the 8-mile route, it starts at 10, the 16-mile route starts at 9, and the 32 starts at 8 o'clock. So everybody returns around the same time for a nice picnic lunch at St. Helena Heritage Park. And it's casual, it's fun. And this year, we have a unique, exciting feature. You can sit on the canal boat for lunch. So yeah, it's just a fun day. And yeah, we're really excited.
Yeah. And is this the first time that you guys have done this? Or is this every year?
This is every year. We've been doing this about 10 plus years.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So nothing new, but yeah, we get a really good crowd out. We typically, knock on wood, have great weather. So yeah, really.
Are there a lot of brave souls that go 32 miles?
There are actually. So a lot of people will use this even as a training ride for one of our other bigger rides, like our Century ride in September, and ride that 32-mile route. But we get a lot of families out too that will do the 8 or 16 together, which is a bit more laid back and casual. But a unique thing about this ride is it's fully supported. So every route has water stops, and the majority of the routes are out and back, with the exception of the 32 because it's a bit longer, so you do more of a loop. But they all have water stops where you can stop, grab water, Gatorade, a snack, and then you head back to the park for lunch.
So it's not a race. You're just
not a race.
That's yes. Good to know too.
Exactly.
People won't feel intimidated by it for sure, right?
Right. Yeah.
So if they want to find more information or they'd like to participate, how do they go about doing that?
Good question. So at our website, ohioanderiecanal.org, if you go to the Get Involved tab, there's an events section. You can scroll down to the Congressman Ralph Regula Memorial Ride and purchase your tickets there. And tickets for members are $30, non-members $40. A family pack, that's 2 adults and 2 children, $70, or you can just buy a youth children's ticket for $10.
Okay.
They can also actually contact our office too, Pam, as well. If they would like to register today, for instance, they can call our office and ask for Lauren. And the phone number there is 330-374-5657.
And obviously, this isn't the only thing that you guys do all year. I mean, you mentioned the Century ride. Talk about that for a second, because we'll talk about that more when we get closer to it. But just give us a little, capsule of what's going to happen with that.
We actually have a whole suite of bicycle events, Pam. And so the Congressman Regula Memorial Ride has 3 different, lengths to it. We also have a 50-mile bicycle ride sponsored by Cleveland Clinic Akron General. And that also includes a 25-mile route as well as a 50-mile route. And that is in August. The date of that is, what date of that again, Lauren?
August 11th is the Towpath 50. Yes.
Okay.
And to support Lauren's point, we have a whole variety of ways in which individuals and families can experience the Ohio and Erie Canalway and the Towpath Trail. And then, as she said, many people will use these as training rides, working their way up. Maybe it's 8, 16, 32, 25, 50 miles. And then ultimately, many riders want to ride the entire length of the Towpath Trail from Cleveland to New Philadelphia. And that happens in the fall. And that's our Huntington Towpath Century ride. And I believe we already have well over 90 riders already signed up for that event, correct, Lauren?
Yes. Yep. Wow. About 90 right now.
And do you get a lot of people from outside this area that participate?
We do. For instance, the Congressman Regula Memorial Ride does appeal to a wide variety of individuals from both locally and regionally, because I think of the 3 distances, because they really have that variety. But another bicycling event that it's also very popular and it's much shorter is something we call Bike and Brew, where I want to be clear with our audience, you bicycle and then you may have either a root beer float or an adult beverage. You don't do it the other way around. And we have people literally coming from West Virginia, Pennsylvania, because it has an Oktoberfest type of feel to it in the fall. Yeah. And so what we find is that really appeals to a certain group of riders and individuals as well. So we really try to come up with a wide variety of ways in which people can experience it. And I want to underscore something that you said earlier, Pam, and emphasize this is not a race. Safety is our number one priority for all of our events and all of our riders. And so we really emphasize safety. As Lauren gave a really great description of, we have water stops, we have sweepers. Those are people actually ride behind the bicycle riders to keep an eye on them in case they get a flat tire, in case they need water, maybe they get a bee sting. So we really try to provide complete wraparound services to all of our participants in all of our events.
That's great. That's good to know too. Because obviously, like if parents are with kids and you're going 8 or even 32 miles, you want to make sure everybody's taken care of. We're going to take our first break, and when we come back, we'll talk more about the ride that honors Congressman Ralph Regula, and we'll talk more about the Ohio and Erie Canalway Coalition on Spotlight right here on 1480 WHBC.
They say nothing's free in this world. Well, our website is.
Get free stuff, news, podcasts, sports, weather, and more, all at WHBC.com.
Living at the Waterford can be life-affirming, as this reenactment of actual residents can attest.
I'm living at the Waterford. Have been for 3 years now. Wish I could have said it was for 10.
My wife and I chose the Waterford, and are glad we did.
I'm not sitting around doing nothing. My life is full, far more than it ever was.
At the Waterford, there's an undercurrent of family connection. We all feel like we belong and can depend on each other.
My children are delighted. They say they're happy to see that their mother is smiling and happy once again. I'm not sitting at home just thinking about the past and wondering, where did my life go? I've got a new one.
There's a sharing spirit. You sleep better at night knowing you're in that kind of atmosphere. Management is very helpful and concerned, and there's very individualized help.
When you're ready to retire, consider moving to the Waterford.
The Waterford, North Canton's premier independent senior living community. Contact Yvonne Herron at 330-966-5643 for availability.
Hey, I'm Ruben. My band and I have a new song we're getting ready to record this weekend. I'm also a tow truck driver. When you move over and slow down, you're not only giving me room to work, you're making sure I get to go home at the end of the day and see my bandmates.
Roadside workers have lives and families, but when they're on the job, they put it all on the line to protect and serve us. When you see flashing lights, remember, they're not just roadside workers. Thank you for moving over and slowing down.
Pizza's here.
Oh, great. I'd love some, but I'm worried about my stomach issues.
If you're worried about having diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, or loose, oily stools, it may not just be stomach issues. It could be a condition called exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI. With EPI, the pancreas doesn't release enough enzymes to break down food, but EPI is manageable. Use the symptom checker on identifyepi.com and talk to your doctor. That's identifyepi.com. Sponsored by AbbVie.
The doctor's office that mixed up your files has your social security number. The power company that mistakenly cut your service has your payment info and last 3 addresses. Your info is in endless places that could accidentally expose your info to identity theft. That's why LifeLock monitors millions of data points every second. If your identity's stolen, they'll fix it guaranteed, or your money back. Save up to 40% your first year with promo code CLAY at LifeLock.com. Terms apply.
Pro Paint Days are back at Lowe's. Save $40 on select 5-gallon HGTV Home by Sherwin-Williams paint, like Weather Shield, Showcase, or Ceiling Paint. Plus, save $10 on drywall PVA primer and get free same-day delivery to the job site when you order by 2 p.m. Lowe's knows paint. Lowe's knows pros. Offers valid through 6/14. Delivery by 8 p.m. Subject to driver availability. Additional terms apply. See Lowe's.com/same-day delivery for details.
Imagine having all the money you need for retirement, all the income, every month, guaranteed. That's Secure Future Investor, an indexed annuity tied to growth in the stock market, but without any risk of loss ever. It's guaranteed money for life income, no matter how long you live. Call 888-509-2228. 888-509-2228. Sponsored by GP Agency Inc., Raleigh, North Carolina. Licensed in all states. Performance may vary. Consult with your financial professional before making an investment decision.
When you use Bounce dryer sheets and your clothes look amazing, it's the sheet. Less static in your life? Yeah, it's the sheet. Smelling fresher than ever? It's the sheet. Oh, so soft fabric? Ooh la la. It's the sheet. Less wrinkles on your clothes? You know it's the sheet. Bounce dryer sheets. More freshness, more softness. Less static, less wrinkles. It's the sheet.
Do you spend all day staring at screens? Whether it's your phone, computer, or television, too much screen time can have a serious impact on your eyes, causing eye strain, nearsightedness, fatigue, and even headaches. Now, protecting your eyes is easier than ever with new Nordics Blueberry Eye Supplements. Specifically formulated to improve eye health, new Nordics Blueberry Supplements not only protect your eyes, but help improve night vision as well as relieve and minimize eye fatigue and damage caused by digital devices. Only New Nordic uses wild Swedish blueberries because of their superior concentration of color pigments. These pigments are vital to eye function, macular health, and your overall vision. New Nordic's Blueberry Eye Supplements are Scandinavia's #1 selling natural eye formulas and have been for over 20 years. They are now available in America. Find them online at Amazon.com or NewNordicUSA.com or in stores at Meijer. Search Blueberry Eye Supplements on Amazon or go to NewNordicUSA.com.
As a roofer, spring means the start of my busy season, which means I've got to get organized. With help from Beacon, I can save time with Beacon Pro Plus and 24/7 access to live pricing, delivery tracking, order history, and more. Plus, this spring, I can earn $1,000 and the chance to win a $25,000 backyard renovation just by buying my CertainTeed shingles online with Beacon. No purchase necessary. Now that's what I call a spring cleanup. Visit BECN.com for official rules and to start earning entries.
Now back to Spotlight on 1480 WHBC.
And welcome back to Spotlight on 1480 WHBC. Pam Cook with you this morning, and we have been talking about Congressman Ralph Regula Memorial Ride, which takes place on June 22nd. And we have with us this morning Dan Rice, who is president and CEO of the Ohio and Erie Canalway Coalition, and Lauren Anderson, who is the event coordinator. And Dan, tell me a little bit about how you got involved with the Ohio and Erie Canalway Coalition. You might be muted right now, sir.
Thank you, Pam.
There you go.
I've had the privilege and honor of really working with the Ohio and Erie Canalway Coalition for 31 years. I started out as a volunteer for the organization, and then I was hired as the first staff person back in 1994. And so it's really just been my honor and privilege to be able to work with all of our residents and communities, organizations over the past 31 years. It's just been a real amazing journey to really kind of see the development and commitment of everyone. And so I started out, working, with Mr. Regula and Mrs. Regula, and they were just amazing leaders in our community. They taught me so much about, communication, really working with people and building community support. It was such an incredible honor and privilege. And I've also had the, been very blessed and fortunate to be able to work with Commissioner Richard Regula, as well as his brother David Regula and their sister Martha. And it's just, I can't say enough great things about, the Regula family, because they really are just outstanding individuals and citizens who really cared about our community. And that's why we want to honor them with our Congressman Regula Memorial Ride. And so we're just really excited about that event.
Yeah, I've been at the radio station for 35 years. And so I had a great opportunity to work with Ralph for a long time. And also Richard as well. Richard and I still work together all the time. And, the stories about them and the family and just all that happened over those years I wish we still had those kind of people in Washington. I say that to him all the time. Your dad can't, he should be here shaking people, I wish he was, but he did so many wonderful things. And this is just evidence of it. And it's wonderful that you're doing this. I just think it's such a great thing.
Yeah, and really, I guess I did not remember that you had been at the radio station for as long as you have been. You must have started when you were really young, because
I was like 12 or something. Yeah.
but to your point, I mean, to have individuals like Mr. and Mrs. Regula and the impact that they had on the community, and it wasn't just the canal, it was education. It's the National First Ladies Library. It's the Akron Canton Airport. Economic development. The list goes on. And that's why, to me, it's very appropriate that we're doing this event to keep alive that legacy, keep alive that story, because, people generations from now are going to be walking on the towpath trail. They're going to be seeing a blue heron or, a turtle for the first time. And they may not really, fully understand or appreciate it, but that's why we just feel so important that people know who came before them. And it's also an opportunity for people to get involved with the organization project, because we could not fulfill our mission if it were not for volunteers, whether it's our canal cleanups, our bicycling program. We have many volunteers, and Lauren can talk about that, the people who volunteer for our organization. And that was, again, one of the core values of Mr. and Mrs. Regula, and that is community service. That sense of obligation to give back to your community, to leave it a better place than what you found it. And we have many people today still carry on that legacy, but certainly Commissioner Richard Regula, his brother David, and sister Martha are absolutely doing that. But volunteers, we could not do our events and programs without our volunteers.
Yeah, I was going to say, you had mentioned earlier about volunteers, and Lauren, you mentioned too about the price being one for members and something else for regular folk. And so maybe talk a little bit about volunteers and how you become a member also.
Yeah, well, we're always, we have so many volunteer opportunities, but just to go back to what Dan was saying, we have so many regular volunteers that specifically love these events and will sign up year after year after year because they feel like they're a part of something and they're really helping. And these events are so fun. So it's just something that we have a lot of really familiar faces, and they kind of become like family. So that is something that's really great to see, that we have returning volunteers that want to be a part of it year after year. But we're always looking still because they do require, all these events that we host require a lot of effort and a lot of planning. So if people ever do would like to or have interest, you can always feel free to reach out to me or our other event coordinator, Dominic Flasco, our development manager, Emily Cooney-Gillay. We're always looking and happy to get people involved.
We have different membership levels. People can join for as little, students and seniors, as $10, $25, $50, $100, whatever contribution they would like to make. And you have the information up there on the screen. They can certainly, again, go to our website at ohioeriecanal.org, or they can call our office. We can take that information over the telephone. We can add them to our e-newsletter list. But really, individuals are the foundation of our work. And that really is a tribute back to Mr. and Mrs. Regula, because the Ohio and Erie Canalway National Heritage Area and the Towpath Trail started with individual citizens wanting to make a difference. And so that's why individual members are one of the core foundations of our success. We could not do our work without the incredible generous support of many individuals, corporations, and companies and foundations.
Yeah. And I know a lot of people are supporting this ride as well. So, and all of the individual events that you have too. Pro Football Hall of Fame is one of them, correct?
Yes, they are our presenting sponsor for this event, and they're new. So we're really excited to have them on board and have their support.
All right, we will take our break for the news right now. And I don't know if Richard's out in the lobby, but we'll find out. And we'll bring him on and we'll chat more about all of the excitement set for June 22nd, right here on Spotlight on 1480 WHBC.
Medicine Center pharmacies have been serving our local community for over 40 years. Our customers know they can count on our pharmacy staff, save money, and trust us. Stop by any of our Medicine Center pharmacy locations in Canton, Louisville, Minerva, and New Philadelphia, or visit us online at medshoprx.com.
Call Crown Heating and Cooling today. With Crown, estimates are always free. Let them show you how much you can save when you trust the carrier experts at Crown. Call 330-499-4988 or visit them on the web at crowngroupohio.com. Ohio license number 27133.
This is Jennifer Toussaint. For years, we brought you local legacies with the Sports Time Machine, then explored our community through the Time Machine, the Stark County Story. Now, join us as we take a journey through the world of music with our new program, The Music Time Machine, every Saturday at 10 a.m. and again on Sunday at 9:30 a.m. right here on News Talk 1480 WHBC. Be sure to catch up on all of our past episodes of The Music Time Machine at themusictimemachine.com.
It's Wendy from Studio Arts and Glass. This Friday and Saturday is our annual garden art sale featuring local artists, stained glass, gifts, jewelry, and more. Make your own sun catcher in class June 14th and 15th, Apple Grove and 77 in North Canton.
Pro Paint Days are back at Lowe's. Save $40 on select 5-gallon HGTV home by Sherwin-Williams paint, like Weather Shield, Showcase, or Ceiling Paint. Plus, save $10 on drywall PVA primer and get free same-day delivery to the job site when you order by 2 p.m. Lowe's knows paint. Lowe's knows pros. Offers valid through 6/14. Delivery by 8 p.m. Subject to driver availability. Additional terms apply. See Lowe's.com/same-day delivery for details.
Verndale Water Experts have been a locally owned and family-operated business for over 65 years. For all of your water treatment needs, call the name you can trust. Call Verndale Water Experts.
Tap into Verndale's Water Center. Tap
WHBC AM 10, reliable as ever on News Talk 1480 WHBC.
From the News Talk 1480 WHBC newsroom, 2 weeks after a deadly explosion at a downtown Youngstown building killed a Chase Bank employee, residents at a nearby apartment complex were told yesterday they have to evacuate their homes. City officials announced that they'd received a report from the structural engineer revealing that the Realty Tower where the explosion happened is in imminent danger of collapse. The Youngstown mayor says about 170 residents of nearby international towers have 3 days to get their belongings and evacuate the building. After only a total of 3 hours of deliberations, the jury returned a verdict of guilty yesterday in the federal gun trial of Hunter Biden. Hunter was found guilty on all 3 felony charges connected to a revolver he purchased in 2018 when he lied on a mandatory gun form by saying he wasn't illegally using or addicted to drugs. Shortly after that verdict was announced, President Joe Biden issued a statement saying he would accept the decision of the jury and continue to respect the judicial process as his son considers an appeal. Hunter Biden will be sentenced at a later date. It is unlikely that he will get any jail time. About 61% of U.S. adults will have cardiovascular disease by 2050. New research from the American Heart Association claims the biggest driver of the trend will be the large number of people who have or will develop high blood pressure, which makes them much more likely to develop dangerous problems like a heart attack or stroke. Other cardiovascular problems include heart attacks, arrhythmias like atrial fibrillation or AFib, heart failure, and congenital heart disease. Despite innovations in treatments, heart disease has been the leading killer of Americans for decades. In sports, the Cleveland Guardians beat the Cincinnati Reds 5-3. They play again tonight, 7:10, first pitch right here on 1480 WHBC. I'm Pam Cook.
Your severe weather station, News Talk 1480 WHBC.
Here's your AccuWeather forecast. Mostly sunny this afternoon. High 81. Clear to partly cloudy for tonight. Low 58. Clouds and sunshine. Thursday. High tomorrow 87. Friday. Showers and a thunderstorm. Then partly sunny. High 79. Saturday. Sunshine and some clouds. A high 78. And on Sunday, clouds and some sunshine with a high 88. I'm Andy Robb for News Talk 1480 WHBC.
Now back to Spotlight on 1480 WHBC.
All right, and welcome back to Spotlight on 1480 WHBC. And again, don't forget we are live on the radio and also on our YouTube channel, and we'll be on Facebook a little bit later on this morning. We have been talking about the Congressman Ralph Regula Memorial Ride presented by the Pro Football Hall of Fame, and we've had a great conversation with Dan Rice, President and CEO of the Ohio and Erie Canalway Coalition, and also Lauren Anderson, the event coordinator. And now I have with us this morning Commissioner Richard Regula. And good morning, sir.
Good morning, Pam. Boy, I can tell my receding hairline and what's going on there.
Yeah, it stinks to have to stare at yourself, right?
No, it's really an honor to be here and today with Lauren and Dan, and especially Dan Rice, because I want to give Dan all the credit in the world. My dad had a vision in 1957, and it's really kind of a cool story. He was a solicitor in the village of Navarre, and the state was going to give away the canal lands to the adjacent property owners. And they called the village of Navarre up and said, do you want the 3 miles within the village of Navarre? Dad convinced then, I believe, and correct me if I'm wrong, Dan, Dad convinced then Governor Rhodes to give it to the county commissioners and let them decide what to do with it. That's how Stark County ended up with the canal lands in Stark County. That's how Summit County ended up with their piece of it. And ultimately Cuyahoga County ended up with their piece. And then when he gets to Congress in like 73 or 74, him and John Cyberling on a bipartisan basis, think of that, Pam, bipartisan basis, because John was a Democrat and Dad was a Republican. They passed legislation to buy the 5 farms that ultimately became the Cuyahoga Valley National Park. Then President Ford was going to veto the bill because the National Park Service did not want to take on any new parkland. It was the largest urban park east of the Mississippi. So Dad got wind of that. He called Ray Bliss, who was a very prominent Republican. Mm-hmm. Bliss called Ford at his condo in Vail. He said, if you don't sign this bill, you're going to lose Ohio. He was running against Jimmy Carter. Signed the bill, still lost Ohio, and the rest is history. But back in like the early 60s, as you know, Dad would take my brother and I and a reporter from the Canton Repository, Al Simpson, and we started in Canal Fulton and just started hiking certain sections of the trail. And Dad would always say, this is going to make a great recreational trail someday. And so he had the vision, but it came, you know, then Stark Parks was formed. And I'll give all the credit in the world to Bob Font when the Ohio Erie Canal Corridor Coalition was formed with Dan Rice. And there's a group up in Cleveland, too, Tim Donovan. I want to give Tim a little bit of the credit for that. They were able to carry out Dad's vision. And that's why when Dad passed away in 2017, I called Dan up, and I was never a big bike rider. I don't even think I owned a bike. And I called Dan up and I said, hey, Dan, I want to ride all 100 miles of the Towpath Trail. And so Dan and it took us 4 days then, but it was kind of like a thank you tour. And just, I wanted to thank people. And we saw kids in cross country groups. We saw senior citizens. We saw all kinds of people. And it was just so gratifying to hear what they said, how they loved the Towpath Trail. Yeah. And we are truly blessed to have that in this region. And if it wasn't for a small time solicitor in the village of Navarre, Ralph Regula, we would not have had it done.
That's crazy. Dan, I'm sure that's obviously how you remember it too, right?
It is, absolutely. And, Richard just did an amazingly beautiful job of describing, the history there. And that's why, as we were talking earlier, why we feel so passionately about the need to communicate that to the general public. And that's why every year we honor the legacy of Congressman Ralph and Mary Regula at the Congressman Ralph Memorial Ride. And Commissioner Regula is absolutely correct. If it wasn't for Mr. Regula, as well as Alan Simpson at the Canton Repository, I remember so many fond stories of them, giving speeches in the 1960s, going to Rotary dinners, Kiwanis dinners. And I think I remember one particular funny story, Commissioner Regula, about how they were telling stories about the Ohio and Erie Canal, and somehow it got mixed up when they were talking to the reporter, and somehow the headline came out of something about romance on the Ohio and Erie Canal. Your mom and dad, that was one of their most highly attended speeches they ever gave, because somehow people came thinking that they were going to hear about romance on the canal. And then one of my other favorite stories, I think you told me this, Commissioner Regula, is that how your dad was camping, because your dad, obviously being a farmer and everything, I mean, getting up early in the morning and everything. And so your dad and Mr. Simpson were hiking along, I think, the C&O Canal, I think, because they wanted it to get an understanding of what it would be like to build this. And Mr. Simpson was apparently sleeping in a fellow tent. And I think it was like 7 o'clock or 6 o'clock in the morning. And your dad goes and kind of rustles his tent and says, "Hey, Mr. Simpson, we got to get up and start hiking now," because your dad, being on the farm and everything, he was used to getting up, milking the cows or taking care of the cows. But I never forget that story. And you're talking about how your mom and dad, taking you along on hikes on the canal. And to me, that's what this is important. It's all about families, and it's all about creating memories with your family members.
And the kind of the interesting thing in the history of the Ohio Erie Canal, the canal was dug. And then if anybody ever has a chance, go to the Howe House, where the Ohio Erie Canal Corridor Coalition, it tells a story about how the canal was built. And it's amazing. How long did it take them to build the 100-mile section of the Ohio Erie Canal? They dug it by hand, correct?
You're absolutely correct, Commissioner. I mean, it was hand dug with workers. It started construction in 1825. We're actually coming up to the bicentennial of the actual starting of the construction of the Ohio and Erie Canal. Started in 1825, completed in 1832. And so it just took 7 years, and it came in on time and on budget. And just an amazing feat in the fact that, we can go out there and walk, whether it's in Navarre or Massillon or Canal Fulton, and the canal is right there. The towpath is right there. And so it just such an incredible legacy and tribute that something that was hand built almost 200 years ago is still here with us today. And, if we do it right, there's a really good chance that, and I think we are definitely doing it right through the leadership of Stark Parks and Dan Meglin and our other partners, it'll be here for another 200 years.
The amazing thing is they moved water uphill. Now, how to get the water to go uphill is still kind of beyond me. And I know why the water flows from Lake Erie to Summit County. It goes, how's that go? North or south? And then at Summit County, it goes south into the Tuscarawas River. But it was amazing. And it was an economic thoroughfare, basically. I mean, all the iron ore and everything that was coming out of Cleveland and the Massillon. That's why the village of Navarre and the Massillon was really developed. And now it's turned into another economic opportunity. You talk to the folks at Ernie's Bike Shop. They get people on a daily basis that are riding from Cincinnati to Cleveland, and they're staying at the Hampton Inn in Massillon. They're eating at our local restaurants. They're, stopping at Ernie's Bike Shop. And I mean, they're getting hundreds of thousands. I think, Dan, you have a number of what the economic impact is to our communities because of the towpath trail.
You're absolutely right, Commissioner. And so if you think about it, historically, the Ohio and Erie Canal was the interstate highway system of the 1800s, because you couldn't get products into the state of Ohio, and you couldn't export products. And it literally catapulted Ohio to the third most populous state in the nation. And so Commissioner Regula is absolutely correct. It was an economic development driver. And then it really kind of lingered. I had a little bit of a peak during the Civil War period, about 1850. By about the 1860s, though, the railroads came along and pretty much put the canals out of business. But it lingered up until about 1913. And unfortunately, there was a terrible flood that struck the entire state of Ohio. Matter of fact, if you go out on some sections of the canal in Stark County, you can see where the state of Ohio actually went in and they actually restored some of the locks in 1909, little knowing that 4 years later, there'd be this terrible flood that would really put the canal out of business. But as Commissioner Regula said, what through Mr. Regula's vision of really turning this into an economically viable engine, it literally has become that. Because on an annual basis, the Ohio and Erie Canalway generates about $408 million of economic impact. And those are real dollars. As Commissioner Regula said, whether it's people purchasing bicycles, people staying in bed and breakfasts, people staying in hotels, visiting places like the Pro Football Hall of Fame, or even housing developments. Housing developments that are adjacent to the Towpath Trail, because those developers and real estate agents know that they can sell those properties for a higher value, anywhere from 6 to 12% higher. It also generates $34 million in tax revenue and supports 4,200 jobs. And so it really is an economic development driver. And all we're really doing is really kind of recycling it, to be perfectly honest with you. Instead of having canal boats and mules, now you've got hikers and bicyclists and people staying in bed and breakfasts.
That's amazing. Who would have ever thought that it was going to lead to all of that? I mean, that's pretty amazing. All right, we're going to take our final break. And then when we come back, we'll just remind folks how they can get involved in the Memorial Ride coming up on June 22nd. And we'll give you all that information here on Spotlight on 1480 WHBC.
Browns, Buckeyes, Cavaliers, and high school sports. We know this is a sports town. 1480 WHBC has it all.
Sports. I'm a huge fan. I played in college. That's what I'm tuned into right now, sports.
You're home for the NFL, NBA, MLB, college football, and high school sports. If it's sports you're looking for, this is the right place. News Talk 1480, WHBC.
The summer party season is here, and whether you are planning a birthday party, family reunion, employee picnic, business open house, or other event, Canton Chair Rental has the equipment and expertise you need to help make your summer entertaining a success. Here are some things to consider as you start planning. If you have children attending your event, think about renting a snow cone, cotton candy, or popcorn machine. Our propane and charcoal grills come in handy when cooking for a large crowd, and our chill and fill table is perfect for setting up a cold buffet or keeping your beverages cold. Concerned about Ohio's unpredictable weather? Canton Chair Rental has a large selection of tents and canopies to shelter your guests from Ohio's hot summer sun or unexpected rain. And of course, we can provide all the tables and chairs that you need. So if your summer includes a party or event, give us a call or visit our website, cantonchairrental.com, to see the variety of quality party rental equipment we have available and place a web request for the items you think you will need. At Canton Chair Rental, we don't just rent tables and chairs, we rent events.
You'd love to upgrade to a new water heater, generator, or electric panel. And now that Beck is giving cash back for clunkers on your old equipment, you can save money when you make upgrades. $500 for your old generator, $250 for water heaters and electric panels. Get peace of mind, a brand new warranty, and some extra savings when you upgrade only at Beck.
The fastest way to fix is Beck Electric generators and plumbing.
Tune in each Saturday morning at 8 a.m. for the Money Matters radio show. Hosts Bob Foudy and David Ryan help you make your money matter. Find out how today's economy, debt levels, and policies affect your hard-earned money. You've made your money. Now it's time to watch it grow. Tune in to the hour-long Money Matters radio show every Saturday morning at 8 a.m. right here on News Talk 1480 WHBC. To speak to Bob Foudy or Dave Ryan about your money matters, call New Horizon Financial Group in Canton at 330-499-1915. 330-499-1915.
Pro Paint Days are back at Lowe's. Save $40 on select 5-gallon HGTV home by Sherwin-Williams paint, like Weather Shield, Showcase, or Ceiling Paint. Plus, save $10 on drywall PVA primer and get free same-day delivery to the job site when you order by 2 p.m. Lowe's knows paint. Lowe's knows pros. Offers valid through 6/14. Delivery by 8 p.m. Subject to driver availability. Additional terms apply. See Lowe's.com/same-day delivery for details.
With T-Mobile, you can get tons of benefits and still save, because nobody likes having to choose. It's like getting romance and sci-fi.
I love you. Also, I'm a robot.
At T-Mobile, you can get the benefits you want and still save on every plan versus AT&T and Verizon. See how with our savings calculator at T-Mobile.com/switch. Plus, switch and keep your phone. We'll pay it off up to $800.
Via virtual prepaid card in 15 days. Qualifying unlocked device credit service and timely redemption required. Card has no cash access and expires in 6 months. See T-Mobile.com.
On the battlefield, there's a saying America's military men and women live by. Never leave a fallen warrior behind. Ever. Off the battlefield, Wounded Warrior Project operates with the same goal. Wounded Warrior Project was created to help our men and women returning home with the scars of war, whether those scars are physical or mental. Wounded Warrior Project. We never leave a fallen warrior behind. ever. Learn more about what we do at woundedwarriorproject.org.
When it comes to my lifestyle and diet, I don't always make the smartest choices. Touchdown! Woo! Hey, how about another round and some more chips? But when it comes to taking care of my liver, I do make one very smart choice. Active liver tablets from New Nordic. I used to have real issues with my liver, and at my last checkup, my doc was concerned about my numbers. But since adding a once-a-day active liver tablet, my gut's better, I feel great, and my doctor's happy. I ask a lot of my liver, so the least I can do to say thanks is a daily dose of Active Liver.
You ask a lot of your liver, so give it the support it needs with Active Liver. You can find Active Liver at Amazon.com or ask for Active Liver at your local CVS. Or for a volume discount, visit NewNordicUSA.com. Go to new, NORDICUSA.com, Amazon, or ask for Active Liver at your local CVS.
Now back to Spotlight on 1480 WHBC.
All right, welcome back to Spotlight here on 1480 WHBC. And we are just so thrilled to be talking about the Congressman Ralph Regula Memorial Ride. And we have Lauren Anderson and Dan Rice from the Ohio and Erie Canalway Coalition. And Dan is here somewhere, I think. Yeah, there he is. And again, we are live on our YouTube channel, and this will be on Facebook as well, so that you can check it out there. And a couple of things. We'll get to getting all the particulars about June 22nd, but I was asking Richard off the air. I said, boy, what would your dad think about this if he saw it now? And you said...
Well, I tell you what, first of all, like I said, I want to thank Dan and Bob Font and Tim Donovan, but I'll tell you a story I'll tell that I know that they are perfectly thrilled with what's going on. Mom and Dad met at Mount Union. They were married at Mount Union. The last love letter we found that Dad wrote to my mom said, if you marry me, Mary, I'll hold your hand for the rest of your life. A week after my mom passed, I've been riding the canal, towpath trail every day, and I rode down to the Viaduct Bridge. It's down there by 212. And I'm riding back, and here's an older couple holding hands with matching Mount Union shirts on, walking down the trail. I said, you know what? Mom and Dad says this is okay.
That's right. That's a sign for sure. No doubt about it. No doubt about it.
Yeah.
I think they'd be pretty darn proud.
Well, and then, during COVID, people, by having that trail in place, Dan can talk about the numbers, but I'm sure it's gone off the charts. And now people are using it more and more because they're getting experience with it.
Yeah, Commissioner Regula is an excellent point in that, unfortunately, that was one of the lessons we did learn from the COVID pandemic, is that when the world shut down and people couldn't go to the movie theaters, they couldn't go to shows, they couldn't go to the mall, the place where they did go to spend time for relief, for mental and physical relief, were our parks, trails, and public spaces. And so we just saw numbers just basically doubled to people visiting the Towpath Trail, people visiting Stark Parks, our local parks, Jackson Parks, Navarre, Massillon City Parks, and Canton Parks as well. So what we learned was that parks, trails, and public spaces are really not non-essential services. They truly are essential services, just like our roads, our bridges, and our water and sewer. Because whether you're out there, doing some exercise, maybe you want to learn a little bit of history about the Ohio and Erie Canal. Maybe you're bird watching. You want to see a scarlet tanager or some other kingfisher bird out there. Or maybe you're just having a tough day. You just need an escape. Maybe a family member is going through a particular challenge. The Ohio and Erie Canalway and the Towpath Trail is an amazing resource. It's free. It's equitable. Anybody can access it. And, really thanks to Mr. and Mrs. Regula and Commissioner Regula and his family, it is something that's going to be here for generations to come. And that's why every year we honor the legacy of Congressman Ralph and Mary Regula with the Congressman Regula Memorial Ride.
All right. So the ride's coming up on Saturday, June 22nd. Lauren, fill us in on what's available and what people will see that day.
Yeah, so Saturday the 22nd, it will be held at St. Helena Heritage Park. We have 3 routes available, the 8-mile route, the 16, or the 32. So it's kind of choose your own adventure, very family friendly, fully supported. We have water stops for each route. So stop, get a snack, get some water, take a break, and come back. Everybody returns at St. Helena Heritage Park for a picnic-style lunch. This year, Miller Dome Tavern is making all the lunches, so we're excited to work with the Canal Fulton business. And yeah, it's just a really great, casual, fun, laid-back day. And tickets are available at ohioeriecanal.org. You can go to the Get Involved tab, and under events, you'll see the Congressman Ralph Regula Memorial Ride. Or you can call our office and get tickets, and we'll help you get that sorted.
And I had mentioned earlier, it's not a race. It's just a fun, get together with family, friends, however you want to do it. You can do it parents and kids, right?
Right. Yeah. So we have a family package. It's $70, 2 adults, 2 children. So yeah, we encourage you to come out with a group, or if you're training for one of our other rides, this is a great ride too. Commissioner Regula would know. Yeah. So if you're training for one of our other rides, this is a great opportunity to start that training and get some miles in.
And it's a fully supported ride, so it includes, all the snacks and water stops. It includes the support out there, the bicycle support. Ernie's Bicycle Shop oftentimes will provide us with the support for bicyclists, whether they get a flat tire. We have sweepers who ride behind the riders to keep an eye on them. And then it concludes, as Lauren said, with a picnic lunch. And if you register early enough, while supplies last, you can actually get a commemorative Congressman Regula Memorial Ride T-shirt. And so I believe that those are still available, but they are available while supplies last. And it's a great way to come out and celebrate the legacy of Congressman Ralph and Mary Regula, support a great cause. All of the proceeds from the Congressman Regula Memorial Ride support the continued development, maintenance, and activation of the Ohio and Erie Canal, Towpath Trail, and connector trails. And we are so proud this year to partner with the Pro Football Hall of Fame. They are our presenting sponsor for the 2024 Congressman Ralph and Mary Regula Memorial Ride. And so we're just really pleased to partner with the Pro Football Hall of Fame and thank them for their generous support for this event.
Awesome. Yeah, that's fantastic. And also you have other things coming up. We talked about, you have another thing happening in August, I believe, right?
Yeah, so we have August 11th, it's a Sunday, our Cleveland Clinic Akron General Towpath 50 ride. It's another great opportunity to get involved, enjoy a fun day. We have a 25-mile route or the 50-mile route. So yeah, we have that coming up as well.
And then the big 100.
101.
101.
But the best
So
thing,
who's counting?
The best thing about the towpath, though, is for the most part is it's flat.
Okay, see
so
there.
it's it's just a great ride. It's a great trail, and we're blessed to have it here in Stark County in northeastern Ohio. And I want to thank Lauren and Dan and the Pro Football Hall of Fame for being our sponsors for the regular ride.
And we'll keep our fingers crossed for good weather on June 22nd, right? Yes.
Yeah, right. Absolutely. And safety is our number one priority. As I said previously, we want people to come out and enjoy a wonderful experience on the Towpath Trail, get some exercise, support a good cause.
Wear a helmet.
Wear a helmet, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
And give an audible signal while passing, because we want to be respectful, because there are so many people out there enjoying the Towpath Trail, walking their dogs, spending time with their kids in a baby stroller. That's why it's not a race. It is a wonderful, high-quality experience, and we want everybody to have a safe time and come out and join us in supporting the Ohio and Erie Canalway and the Towpath Trail, and really honoring the legacy of Congressman Ralph and Mary Regula and the Regula family.
All right. Well, thank you so much for coming on today. It was a great talking with all of you.
Thanks, Pam.
Thank you so much, Pam. Good to see you, Commissioner.
Good to see you guys. See you Saturday.
Sounds good.
Find more right now on WHBC.com.
Celebrating 95 years of being